Our guest joining us for this edition of The Debate, Managing Editor of Veterans Today, Jim Dean, joins us from Atlanta. We have investigative journalist Lee Kaplan, who joins us from San Francisco. Gentlemen, welcome. Lee Kaplan, I'd like to start with you. This petition is 108,395. You have people who are protesting against the visit of Netanyahu. What do you think Netanyahu feels when he looks at a petition or when he sees people wanting his arrest at the place of his arrival, which was London?
I think he knows it's a publicity stunt put together by the Palestinians. Actually, you know, the number of signatures you have on there, if you look very carefully at the petition, it claims it doesn't require that British citizens have citizenship, in other words, to sign it. It has signatures there from people who are not British citizens. In addition, it claims that 2,200 civilians were killed in Gaza. It's not true. During the last war, at least 1,000 of them were armed combatants who fought with the Israelis. And it completely ignores the fact that the Palestinians have shot as many as 10,000 rockets into Jewish civilian communities in Israel. I'd also like to add that the Palestinians are not starving in Gaza. That's part of the publicity and the nonsense. David Cameron has said that the petition is just a publicity stunt. And I'd like to point out also that the Iranian-American Foundation is providing some of the money to promote this petition. So it's Iran, to some degree, is pushing this also. So it's just a publicity stunt to attack Israel again and try to suggest that Israel is the bad guy. The Hamas Charter, meanwhile, still calls for the complete annihilation of all the Jews in the world, as well as the complete destruction of Israel.
Well, we could rehash, Jim Dean, some of the facts, and I think that Lee Kaplan there said that 1,000 of the ones that were killed, he used some terminology. That leaves an extra 800 from the last war, and he had two previous wars to that, of innocent people who died. There's nothing that has been done to Israeli officials regarding this, and that was the thrust of this petition. We're going to get to some of the other illegal actions by Israel. Why hasn't there been any type of movement towards prosecuting, except for perhaps Palestine trying to take Israel to the ICC?
Well, you have two very ingrained type situations. Number one, you have to have a forum, a legal forum that's actually willing to do it. And then two, they have to be able to do it and stand up to the various world powers that don't want to do this. And I agree with Brother Kaplan that sure, it's a publicity issue. If this was if the shoe was on the other foot and this was happening to Jews, he wouldn't be calling it a publicity stunt. He would be calling it that they're desperately trying to get some exposure to their situation, which anybody who's undergone this would want to do. So yes, the 100,000 names, everybody pads the list as much as they can, but they're trying to get the issue on the table politically in England, an area where, like the US, your Jewish lobby is very, very powerful, lots of money in politics, and basically they have a compromise legislature there, which basically has just squeezed the Palestinian voice out. So basically, sure, Iran's trying to help them out. Who wouldn't be trying to help out, get this thing resolved somehow? But then the Israelis say, we don't have to resolve it. We like everything just the way it is. The occupation goes on and on and on.
Well, Lee Kaplan, why is
you know, yeah. I'd like to say something here. He talks about the Jewish lobby. That was an anti-Semitic attack on the Jews in Great Britain. There is no Jewish lobby, just like they try to claim at Veterans Today that there's a Jewish lobby in America. The Jews are not some conspiracy to rule the world. They just want to be left alone. And the fact is the Palestinians and the Islamic Ummah, Iran included, constantly threatening to annihilate the Jews and to destroy Israel. Israel has a right to defend itself. That's what the last war was about. And there were not 2,000 civilian casualties. They had armed combatants. The Hamas has armed combatants. Iran provides missiles and other weapons to the Hamas. So, you know, let's make this a little more balanced and truthful here.
Well, that's what we'd like to do. Let me get your reaction, Lee Kaplan, from what Benjamin Netanyahu said prior to his departure. He said, we are in the midst of a great struggle that's being waged against Israel, an international campaign to blacken its name. It is not connected to our actions. It is connected to our very existence. It's pretty significant. I mean, it seems, I don't know if you agree or not, but it seems like, well, specifically Netanyahu, he's always trying to defend himself. Israel's always on the defense. Why is that happening? I mean, maybe it's because prior to his trip, there was news by The Guardian from the UK that said 17,000 demolition orders have been issued. And this is illegal. So far, 4,400 demolitions have taken place, with another roughly, what, 12, 13,000 to go.
You know, again, you're being deceptive here when you say 17,000 demolitions. You're talking about demolitions of, and some of those, of buildings and homes and things like that in Israel. Plenty of those demolitions are for domiciles which were put up without permits. They destroy Jewish homes, too, without permits. And the fact is, it's all propaganda and a bunch of baloney. They're not stealing Arab homes and destroying them. The fact of the matter is, you say Netanyahu is on the defensive. Well, the leader of your country has called for the annihilation of Israel and wiping it off the map. The fact is, you have a proxy in Hezbollah, who, by the way, Hezbollah was leading the demonstrations for this phony petition in the UK. It's all over the internet right now. And you have Hamas, which is also a surrogate for Iran and receiving weapons from Iran. So, you know, let's be realistic here. You even brought in this guy from Veterans Today, which is a phony veterans website, and he says it's the Jewish lobby in England. It's the Jews. The Jews want to take over the world, and you're defending the world from the Jews. Let's be honest here. Jews are a tiny minority of the population in the world, and they've gone through the Holocaust, and they are constantly under attack from the Islamic Ummah. So, you know, that's what's really going on here, and Netanyahu is absolutely right. They're constantly besieged this way. And you, my friend, have used the term violations of international law. You're not an international lawyer, and Israel doesn't violate international law. Israel respects international law. Israel actually provides food and living supplies for the people in Gaza to make sure that nobody goes hungry. There is no siege on Gaza. This is all part of the game. Let's destroy Israel. Let's attack the Jews. Let's talk about a Jewish lobby. You'll ignore the fact that the Hamas charter, that's the government in Gaza, blatantly says in 12 places their duty is to wipe out all the Jews in the world. Okay. So do you tell me something, Kava, do you want me and all the Jews in the world to be killed and wiped out?
Not at all, and that's not the platform of this at all. As a matter of fact, anything that I cite is not anything personal. It's based on resources, and we try to go by credible resources. If not, that's why we have a debate, so you can counter that.
Well,
Jim
credible
Dean,
resources. So
okay, just wait though.
Charter,
let's get Jim Dean
is a
in
pretty
here.
credible resource.
Okay, let's get Jim Dean, because you leveled some accusations against Jim Dean. Go ahead.
Good, good. Well, this has been very fun. I've really heard the entire Israeli propaganda campaign in fast speed. But let's go back to this thing of, wipe out Israelis. Veterans Today is an intelligence website. And that whole thing was a old Cold War trick of misinterpreting a translation. What he actually said is the Zionist regime will be removed from the sands of time. And what he was referring to is the Zionist regime, in other words, the political structure, like the Likud party, so they know where the problem is. They've never said anything about wiping the Israeli people out. And all of these advocates for Israelis, they know this.
Zionist is a euphemism for the Jews.
Lee Kaplan, hold on. Let Jim Dean talk. Go ahead, Jim Dean.
I'm not going to let you lie.
Lee Kaplan, hold on. Jim Dean, go ahead. Jim Dean.
Cut his back. Yes, sir. So, Mr. Kaplan, I did your background on DEPCA and your businessmen. It was very, very interesting, the full 5 minutes. So you've been involved in this for a long, long time. So you can't keep repeating the old lies over and over again. And this is why you're seeing
what lies?
Bibi being very unpopular. And you're seeing that even the AIPAC is already blaming the Iran nuclear agreement on Bibi. They're already setting him up to take the blame for it because he forced his way into Congress. So, you know, you can get the microphone and you can keep repeating the same old crap over and over, but really it's good because people are getting tired of it. The same old lies. We have the internet now. It's not back in the days where people weren't able to research yourself. And again, we're not a phony veterans website. We've got the
You're a phony veterans website. You don't represent American veterans. In fact,
No,
you've supported the enemies of the troops and the people that do the end of the troops. You know, I've debated your publisher. Your website is really the equivalent of a Tokyo Rose in World War II. You're a cheap internet piece of garbage. You're not a veterans website. You don't support the veterans, and you'll support anything that goes against the United States, against Israel, or against democracies.
And you get money. Front organization. And you guys,
I'm not a cheap Israeli front. I can't.
Yes, because you're the
I'm not a front organization.
You're just right out of
I
the
get
book.
no money from Israel. I get no money from Israel. I get no money from Israel.
They have lots and lots of ways. They have hundreds and hundreds of community activist orgs like this. And your little campus one is right out of the book. You know, we're still active in doing counterintelligence work on the country level. We've got people here with 40 years worth of experience. You need to come up with some new tactics and not use the same things again. So we consider this laughable, but you have done quite a bit of work and with your little group, and there's dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of them all over the place.
Okay, hold on. Lee Kaplan.
Who is they?
Go ahead,
Who
Lee
is
Kaplan.
they? Who is they?
30 seconds to Lee Kaplan. Go ahead.
You mean the Jews?
No,
He
I
says
didn't say
they.
that. You said
He's talking
that.
about you said they. You used the word they. You implied that there's a Jewish conspiracy. You said
no,
they.
You
implied that there is a Jewish conspiracy. Listen, I would encourage anybody. I would encourage American citizens and even Iranian citizens who want to know the truth. Go look at Veterans Today. It's a garbage website. It's put together by a cheap hack who's paid by Iran. He was a Holocaust denier. He denied that the Holocaust even occurred. He went to Iran for a Holocaust denial conference.
Okay, that's it. Jim
Now,
Dean, 30
Mr.
seconds
Bean,
to
would
you.
you say that the Holocaust
30 seconds
never
to you.
occurred?
Netanyahu more isolated than ever. 30 seconds.
So I would say that
He's not isolated.
The Holocaust that you're denying is the Holocaust that you guys have been doing on the Palestinians. So, and the Judgment Day is coming. So keep on saying the same old crap over and over again because people are just getting tired of it, and your ship is sinking, and Bibi's too.
We're going to end it there. Thank you very much for that. Managing editor of Veterans Today, Jim Dean, with his statements from Atlanta. Thank you very much, Lee Kaplan, investigative journalist there from San Francisco. That does it for this edition of The Debate. From Mikhail Vitaly and the entire team in the capital, Tehran, it's goodbye.